another life form. If we're talking about our Darwin, Charles Darwin took the great ship called HMS Bagley ship. This HMS Bagley ship is a ship used by our Darwin to move across many parts of the world to understand the various organism evolution pattern. He understood and he given his findings as a different type of evolutionary statistics to understand the geographic specific evolution. For example, I'll say to you, being a scientist, I am doing the research work in the desert. I'm finding out the dates of various diversity, coconut trees of various diversity, neem of various diversity, different type of neem, different type of dates, different type of coconut tree I'm seeing, different type of cactus I'm seeing. Different type of cactus plant you can't see in the cold region, but in the desert region you can see the different type of cactus. You can see the different type of camel in the desert, but you can't see the different type of camel in the case of evergreen forest. So the Darwin, after moving across through many number of world places, okay, he examined the various type of evolution and he given his findings as a research statistics for calculating or for understanding the evolution pattern. Natural selection. See, when I was like you, I used to ask question to me, okay, here being a species, I'm having the provision, I'm having the choice to go for mating with this only with this specific species. Being a organism, I'm having the provision to to have a very good habitat in this particular geographic area. I'm a human being. I can live in the cold Russia. I can live in UAE. I can go to the moderate climatic area, India. So here there is my choice of the human being, right? Different human being likes different type of habitat. So different habitat, again back I'm repeating, different type of habitat, different type of climatic condition takes the human being, takes a human being to a specific body adaptation. I'll give an example for you. You know very well Eskimos who are living in Atlantic Ocean are short, stout, and very thick because they are adapted to eat the raw flesh much more. There the heat is very less with the less amount of metabolism. With the less number of metabolism, with the less amount of metabolism, less amount of body heat, whatever it is produced, that is not going away from the body. That is not going away from the body because of the thick, fatty structure, which is nothing but adipose structure. So we know very well the adipose structure, which is present beneath the skin, is very important. Is very important. Again, I'm repeating, adipose structure, which is present beneath the skin, is very important. Not allowing the heat to move away from the body, right? So, like this, we need to understand all the concept in detail, right? So the natural selection. So I am interested to survive in cold area. I'm interested to survive in heat area. I'm interested to survive in this particular burrow. I am interested to survive only in jungle. Like this, who is saying? Kangaroo rat is saying. I am interested to survive only in the jungle. Snakes are saying. Anywhere you saw, I saw cobra. Okay, I saw python in the very hot climatic condition. In the desert area, I saw this python is moving, parrot is flying. Like this, you can't say. Why? Because they are not comfortable in living in the particular area, right? So that is called natural selection. These are all the examples for the natural selection. Climate decides one specific species survival. The species can decide with other which other species it can go for mating. Okay, the species can decide what food I can take. For example, okay, I'm a parrot. I'm having the provision to take the moong dal. I'm having the provision to take green dal. I'm having the provision to take horse gram. I'm having the provision to take the chenna. Okay, being a parrot, I am having the provision to take any type of grain. Whatever the grain I like, that grain decides my body feature, right? So these are the okay food habitat, climate, food intake, habitat, okay, climatic condition, all these things decides, mating choice, all these things decides the natural selection, right? So now we are entering into the Alfred Wallace contribution. This great scientist, he worked in Malay archipelago. This Malay archipelago is a species, okay, which is nothing but anteater, right? So this Wallace supported the idea of natural selection. So Alfred Wallace did the research work in this Malay archipelago, and he told whatever our Charles Darwin told is correct in terms of natural selection, in terms of evolution. Like this, we can conclude, but we can't say, for the mutation which is directionless. Mutation is in the direction like this. Our Charles Darwin told that is not accepted, right? So whenever you are writing a sentence, all the sentence should have certain limitation. Charles Darwin concept are accepted, but not all. For example, if we're talking about the Charles Darwin concept in the mutation which is high in the specific direction, definitely that is not acceptable. Mutation is not having a direction. Mutation is directionless, right? Now we are coming for the next point as common ancestors and geographical history. So what is my common ancestors? One ancestors makes many ancestors. Okay, so sometimes one ancestors makes many ancestors, for example, C, B, G, like this. So one ancestors makes many ancestors. So many ancestors can become some other ancestors for other species. So like this, we are studying based on the specific geological fossils. Specific geological fossils explains about the way how the species survived in this area and what type of architecture, in the sense, what type of adaptation it developed to survive in this area, right? So there is a hidden meaning. See, common ancestors means first step for the board preparation. I need to know what are all the different technical terms are there for the ancestry: ascendant, descendant, predecessors, successors. Okay, I know all these terms. Okay, then you come back to the next structure, how I can understand the ancestral structure by analyzing the fossils. So how do we do fossil analysis? Fossil analysis we will do not only by morphological and anatomical analysis, we also need to do the radiocarbon dating, which is not given the slide, right? So radiocarbon dating, morphology analysis, anatomy analysis makes the particular species structure understanding credential. This understanding credential will make us to help to create the ancestral information. For example, who is the immediate ancestor for the human being? Either apes or chimpanzee. Not chimpanzee, apes are the immediate ancestor for the human being. Like this, by analyzing the different type of human fossils, we can understand who is the immediate ancestor, who is the foremost ancestor. Like chimpanzee is not the immediate ancestor of human being, right? So orangutan monkey is not the immediate ancestor for the human being, right? So like this, we can pinpoint the information. Okay. Now we are entering into the next important concept in the evolution of the life. Conclusion. Charles Darwin and Alfred Wallace reshaped the understanding of the Earth life history. Species creation. Species creation, highlighting the dynamic and ancient nature of our planet diversity is very, very important. So ancient nature of our planet diversity, highlighting the dynamic and ancestral nature of the planet biodiversity. For example, you know very well the length of the planet. Earth planet is Amazon forest, which is rich in species, not only in plants and animals. Specifically, we are saying in insects, population size. The Amazon forest is in the first place because it is having major diversity and major varieties of seasons. In the sense, there is no much more seasonal variation. There is no much more seasonal variation. The season happens for a long duration. Okay, there is no precipitation. There is no sudden change in the entire environment, right? Of course, Amazon forest also undergoing climatic changes, but slowly, gradually. But the impact of the climate change is not that much, right? Okay, this is a message we need to understand, right? Now we are coming for the next phase of explanation is evidence of the evolution. Before going to the evidence of the evolution, so let me go to the questions for discussion. This question is taken from 2023 board paper. Okay, for making you to get good idea the process of natural selection with respect to the length of giraffe. When you're seeing this concept, immediately say, yeah, the scientist Lemar told. Lemar is not there in the slide, right? Lemar told, okay, so that happiness. Oh, giraffe, I know that. I'll calculate that. That type of happiness. So that type of self-motivation is very important. Okay, here, then you won't become tired. Then you won't become tired, and you can sit and study for many number of hours, and you can plan for many things, right? Um, Now, if you're seeing these things, in the y-axis, the number of giraffe. In the x-axis, the neck length in giraffe we plotted. All right. So if you're seeing this answer in detail, okay, are more likely to survive and reproduce, right? Okay, reproduce, lead to an increase in the frequency of the long neck. Why? Because in certain geographical area, green plants are existing with the leaf at the topmost area. Okay, we used to say canopy forest. In the case of canopy forest, you can see the greens, that means the leaves which are there at the top of the plant, which is not found the base of the plant. Okay, so these type of leaves, when we are taking, we need to have a long neck, and survival chance is much more for the giraffe with the long neck, not the short neck. That is the reason why we chosen the C as a correct option, right? So now this is where you need to understand the message. Now we are going to the next question for the discussion. Industrial minimalism in England after 1850 is an excellent example of the natural selection. The moment industrial minimalism is coming to your mind, when you're seeing the question, this question in 2023 in paper 5, they asked this question. We all know very well butterfly, which is dark in color with a dark bark background. Dark color butterfly with a dark background can't be found out very easily by the predators. Why? Because it is not in contrast, the background. Whereas the light color butterfly, the dark bark background, it is in contrast. So the concerned predator, okay, will find out very easily the butterfly. And then the butterfly's population comes down. So we all know very well industrial melanism means wherever the population size is maximum, there the lichens will grow very, very dark over the bark. So dark lichens are growing over the bark in a very, 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 very browny color. So here the butterfly which is surviving in this dark background, dark butterfly with the dark background can survive. Light color butterfly, light, not weight, lightweight, no, light color butterfly. Okay, with the dark background can't survive. Why? Because it is in contrast in color, right? So now we are entering to the next important question for understanding the evolutionary board paper. Okay, so you saw some questions are theory questions. Some questions we are bringing as a assertion reasoning questions. Some questions we are bringing as a diagrammatic questions. Some questions we are bringing as a MCQ questions. So now we are discussing about the paragraph questions. Now this question belongs to exclusively the 5-mark question, right? The 5-mark question, this is a way you need to narrate point by point, a lot of subheadings, and you should have the credential to understand this is the way you need to narrate. After that, you need to underline important words like fossil record is important word, right? So Darwin did not understand, okay, molecular basis of inheritance, molecular basis of variation, right? So these are all the important words to the paper evaluator. If you're making them to uh, sit comfortably and to evaluate our paper by giving some underlining important points, then they will give the maximum amount of marks for us. So accordingly, we need to underline the important words. Now we are entering into the important concept, modern evolutionary theory. So neo-Darwinism combines Darwin's natural selection and Darwin's genetics. So providing a comprehensive understanding of the evolutionary process. That is called modern evolutionary theory. It's a combination of Darwin and Mendel, right? So limitations. So intercorporating the population genetics has enhanced our understanding of how genes and traits are inherited. So here, how this is the way the alleles are inherited in this particular geographical area. Even though these many number of biotic factors and abiotic factors are influencing the different season, and also other parameters like we need to consider the competitors parameters, parasitic parameters, and the disease parameters. If it is endemic, if it is pandemic, if it is epidemic, the species survival in the different geographical area differs, right? So, like this, we are bringing all this concept with a lot of points and subheadings. This is the way your paper presentation should supposed to be. That is the reason why we kept the answer in a neat and a clean way, in a pinpointable pattern, so that what you can make use of this information more appropriately. Right now, we are entering into the next question, fourth question, which is nothing but the same evolutionary question. State two principal outcome of the experiment conducted by the Louis Pasteur on origin of evolution. Living structure makes the other living structure. Living structure makes the other living structure. Disproves spontaneous generation. The other name of spontaneous generation is nothing but the other name of the spontaneous generation is nothing but abiogenesis theory. Abiogenesis theory, right? So this way, you need to understand all this information in detail. Now we are entering into the next important concept. Here, related videos, please examine it in our Gotouniversity portal. Examples, concept of natural selection with an example, right? We told so many examples for the natural selection. Giraffe, only we discussed. Yes or no? With short neck, long neck, right? That you can give us a example. So this is a beautiful worked example. Hot's question. Explain the concept of natural selection with example. So first you are giving natural selection information for 1 or 2 sentences, then examples and narration on the examples. Then homology versus analogy. So if you're talking about homologous structures, they are having the common ancestors. They are having the common ancestors, whereas analogous structures, okay, having the different ancestors. So if you're talking about the function is different, the homologous structure function is different, whereas an analogous structure function is similar. Function is similar. Wings of the bird and insect for flying, right? If you're talking about the four limbs in human being, this is the forelimb of the human being. Okay. In the case of bats and the whales, okay, it's a flying. Okay, whale is not flying, whale is swimming. Okay, bats are flying. Okay, and human being is not flying, moving. So the four limbs are having different functions. In the case of the human, bats, and the whales, that is why we kept under the homologous structure. Whereas in analogous structures, okay, here if we're talking about which is exactly different. Their origin is different. Their origin is different, but having similar function. Similar function, flying function. Analog, similar function. Homologous, dissimilar function, right? So analogy, homology questions, so many number of times they're asking in the board exam. Be very careful and keep all the examples and differences in your mind as an instant coffee powder. So when we need coffee, immediately we can make the coffee. So when they're asking the question in the board exam, immediately we can give the answer for this. Now we are coming for the tips of the exam. As we already told, not only terminology, not only scientist name, not only merits and demerits of each and every hypothesis, we also should know the overall synonyms: analogy, homology, okay, diverged evolution, converged evolution. So this type of antonyms, synonyms also we need to keep in our mind in addition to the terminology, examples, functions, scientist hypothesis practice.